What is going on, everybody? Vex30 here, coming with a new video, and today we are bringing back a super old series. I'm talking when I first started this channel, top 5 in Paladins. So today we are going to be doing top 5 supports to carry within ranked. What does that mean exactly? These are going to be in no particular order, but I'm going to go over the top 5 supports that you can pick to have the easiest time carrying your rank games. Now, I know supports aren't great to carry with, but I'm going to give you your best potential, your best output, your best way to win this elo with these champions. The format of this video is going to go as follows. We're going to talk about these champions. I'm going to give you the talent to use, the build to use, and even what cards, 2 cards you should be prioritizing with that build. And then we're going to discuss the high points of that champion and why they're on this list. So there's a lot of information to cover in this video, so let's jump right into it. And to start off this list, we are going to talk about the member of the Blue Man crew himself, Grok. First, let's talk about the talent. Totemic Ward, gain a 3rd charge of healing totem, increase their healing by 30%. I think this is the best talent to carry your games with, and it recently got buffed, and his totems are recently buffed, and he is insane right now. I didn't think he was first pick, but he just might be. The build. Monolithic Totem 3, Crackle 2, Spirit's Grace 5, Astral Traveler 2, Outreach 3. This will help you win your games with your movement speed and the extra totem duration and health. And the 2 most important cards you have to buy on Grok, first will be Chronos, and then you need to get Morale Boost due to his cooldowns, all of his abilities needing cooldown reduction, and his ulti being so strong. So what makes Grok carry potential in ranked? Number 1, his insane healing. With his new totems, he's able to keep his team alive, get them in and out of fights quickly with his healing plus movement speeds on his totem. His damage is actually really good. If you were able to totem weave, which I'm going to call it because it's a WoW term, but if you're able to get your totems out while weaving in damage and weaving in totems, weaving in damage, weaving in totems, so on and so forth, your damage is crazy strong. And with that damage means more ult charge, which means you have a very strong ult on Grok. You're able to get your team in and out quickly of fights and keep them alive. His survivability is okay. Now with the 3rd totem increased healing, he now has more self-sustain himself, so his survivability is pretty decent as long as you time your ghost walks or ghost travel correctly. It can be good. The range on his totem is amazing, and his utility overall with his movement speed on the totem is amazing. So Grok as a pick in your rank games is, I want to say, one of the best, and you can easily carry games with him. Next on the list is Genos, the Star Traveler himself. So the talent, we have to say, first, right off the bat, Genos is very unique in this list because we are not going to talk about his support potential, but actually his damage carry potential. And with that, let's talk about Binary Star. Star Splitter now deals 360 damage every 0.4 seconds. This is a very strong talent to be able to weave in and out of fights, get that quick poke damage or immediate damage on somebody's face. Very good talent paired with this build. Relativity 5 just increases your self-sustain while healing others. Numbra, lifesteal increased by 35%. Retrograde, reduce the cooldown of your right click, healing others means healing yourself with this build. Heavenly Pull and Sidereal are both interchangeable, and you can use whatever 1-point cards you would like there. And the 2 cards you should be buying on Genos is Cauterize and Life Rip. So, Genos as carry. And to carry your rank games to win that elo, his damage potential is amazing. Now, some people think they've done the math and think that his normal gun does more DPS, and maybe the math does check out, but what a lot of people don't understand is the difference between a single fire gun and an auto fire gun is a single fire gun, you can peek around corners and get off that quick burst of damage rather than standing in the open and having sustained damage. Your survivability now increases and you're able to kite around easier while getting maximum potential. Plus, peeking the corner quickly and getting a headshot is amazing and keeps you alive and allows you to move around the map more freely. So I just wanted to debunk that debate. Just because his base gun does a slightly bit more DPS does not mean that it's better. Survivability, as we just talked about, is amazing on this build. The build with relativity plus number plus the nerfs to caught way back in season 3, 75%. He has a ton of sustain, plus buying that life rip in the card just stacks with number, and since it's only 2 lifesteal sources, it does not diminish a lot. Mobility is amazing, and that pairs with survivability great. And the ulti is okay if you know how to use it. Learning how to use Gen Assault is super important to make binary work, but not a completely necessary aspect. One downside to this is you have to have a second support to supplement the healing. You're mainly looking for something like a Grover. There are others you can use, but the most efficient is a comp like Genos Grover. Genos is strong, and I do suggest highly that you pick up Binary Star and learn how to use it to carry rank games with damage alone. Next, we have to talk about my main man, Mal Damba. First, the talent. Spirits Chosen. Mending Spirits immediately heals your target for an additional 250. The Gore talent is also viable if you have a Yag on your team who is playing point, maybe off tank, but that's really the only time where that talent is viable. Your main go-to is Spirits Chosen. The build. Possession 4, DR Crucial. Eerie Presence 3, 4, or 5. This card is interchangeable depending on your skill with Damba and how you feel with the comfortability with the right click. And if you want to put more points in Eerie Presence, you will take it out of Swift Spirit, which increases the movement speed of your allies healed by your right click. If you want a higher Eerie Presence, you have to take it out of Swift Spirits. Nothing else in this build is really adjustable. Ritual Magic 1, you need a little bit of self-sustain. You can maybe run this at 2 and maybe take a point again out of Swift Spirits. But I think 1 is all you need. Spirits Touch 2, increased movement speed after your slither. And finally, for the cards, I would suggest highly rushing Chronos. Also, getting a Nimble early on Damba. With healers that require line of sight and don't have the strongest ultis, Nimbles are amazing buy, and you can buy Chronos and Nimble right off the rip. So why can Damba carry your ranked games? First of all, let's address the elephant in the room. Damba is a very hard champion and needs to be learned to be able to carry with him. He is not beginner user friendly, so if you're trying to go right into ranked and carry games with Damba, it's not going to work. It is going to take some time to learn him, to learn his nuances, to learn when to dash, or how to throw your gourds. That is one of the biggest ones, and how to use your ulti. So take some time, learn Damba, and he can carry your game. Let's talk about the small things. Damage, it's alright. If you learn how to hit your autos, you can really do some damage, but overall, it's okay. Survivability, amazing if you use it right. Again, you have to learn how to use the dash and how to immune things and how to get out of situations and where to position on him. Healing is amazing. Having those right clicks plus the utility on the right clicks with the movement speed plus the gourd, your healing output can be insane if you position right and constantly get right clicks and gourds out off cooldown. His utility, as we just said, is crazy good with his movement speed, but he also has his reload stun. Again, this comes with the skill cap with Damba. If you're hitting stuns, you are making impact and you are winning games because your team look at these stuns and say, wow, free damage, free kills. His ulti is amazing, but it needs to be placed right, and you need to learn how to double tap it and put it exactly where you want it. Damba overall is a very hard champion, but can easily carry games once you have the time and hours put in on him. Next, let's talk about the lady who destroyed a whole city and took its name, Saris. First, the talent. Mortal Reach. Increase the range of a Restore Soul by 300% and reduce time between healing ticks by 25%. Mortal Reach is the main one and keeps you the safest possible distance where you cannot die as Saris, and that's great. You can run Soul Collector in certain instances, but to carry ranked, I would really suggest Mortal Reach, especially if you're a newer player. The build. Blood Pact 3. Increase the healing to yourself by 210 every 1 second while using Restore Soul. Umbral Gate 5. This is a card that I do not see ran enough. It is broken on Saris, and if you're not running it, you should be. Movement speed increased by 40% when you have a single stack on somebody. When you hit them with an auto, it puts a stack on them. Don't press Q, don't panic, leave it on them, use that movement speed. Spirit Leech, even though it was just nerfed, I still think it's a really good 1-point card because 2 ammo every 1 second because your heal gets down to almost 1 second. You should be running it. Veil 3, this is an adjustable card. You can either run it at 3, 4. I think 5 is overkill, but it's up to you. Fade to Black, important card. I would take a point out of Fade to Black and put it into Veil if you don't feel comfortable at Veil 3. Cards to be buying on Saris, you need to be rushing Chronos and Nimble. Most importantly, Chronos, but I would start the game with a Chronos and a Nimble. Again, line of sight based healer. Nimble is very important, and paired with Thumble Great, it's going to diminish a little bit, but not enough to make it relevant. Chronos, it takes 0.2 seconds off your heal per level. That is amazing for Saris because she has such high healing output in that short time frame. You need it. Saris on a surface level is very basic, but that's what makes her carry potential high. She can't do as much as other supports like Damba, but she is simple and easy to use. With that being said, her damage is solid if you are getting those spams off constantly, and if you're even running Soul Collector, your damage can be extremely high. Damage is okay. While the healing, on the other hand, is amazing. As long as you're getting line of sight and people are line of sighting you, you can get 3 to 4 people inside of your heals because it hits the main target and bounces to others. Her healing is great. Paired with that, with Mortal Reach and being able to sit as far back as you'd like, amazing. And just great healing output, and you are the sole provider for your team, and you are there to keep them alive. And man, does Saris does a good job at that. Her ulti is okay if used right. It has counters like immunity, shield, so on and so forth, while the sustain for herself and her survivability is 10 out of 10 because of Veil and Fade to Black. Saris overall is great for newer players and pretty good for experienced players. She is the one champion you can just jump into and win games because you are keeping your team alive. Finally, last, and trust me when I tell you, not least, the Treebeard himself, Grover. The talent, Deep Roots. Crippling Throw will root enemies hit and chain between nearby enemies up to 3 times. Trust me when I tell you, this is by far the best talent, and none others, not a single one other, compares. Ferocity, there's one certain map, Bazaar, that I think it has potential to be better, but the root will just set up so many kills and allow your team and yourself to excel. The build, Fatalis 5, hitting an enemy with Crippling Throw reduces the cooldown of Blossom. Chop Down, you want to reduce the cooldown of your Crippling Throw so you can get the reducing cooldown on your heal, so you can get more roots. It pairs amazingly. Verdant Expanse, though this card was nerfed a while back, I still think the radius is worth it. You will find so many times where you just barely hit people with heals. Perennial, you want to reduce your cooldown of your heal by just a little bit. You're going to be running Chronos, but this card just helps just enough. And Adrenaline, this card seems good in theory, but if you're not doing well, Adrenaline really falls off because you're not getting Elim. So I ran this card at 1 just so you can get 1 second off your heal every time you get an Elim. The cards to be buying on Grover will be Chronos and Morale Boost, though Nimble is a solid third choice. Grover's ulti does fall off hard late game, so you could easily buy a Chronos 2, Morale 1, Nimble 2. Getting 1 point of morale early game is solid and will help your team stay alive. So there's a lot of options with Grover, but I would suggest Chronos and Morale to start with until you learn him and know when to buy Nimble. So why should you pick Treebeard to carry your games? Well, 1, his damage is amazing. His axes clap cheeks. They always have and always will. His healing is amazing, though it can be tough at times making sure you can get everybody in your radius, but your teammates sometimes need to be smart enough to come to you, and sometimes you need to go out of your way to help them. It's a fine balance, but as soon as you learn that balance, you will keep everybody alive in an amazing fashion. You also have to watch out for Caught and try to time Caught so Caught drops off your teammates when you heal them. His utility is one of the best. The root, even with resilience in the other team, just stopping an enemy in place for 0.5 seconds stops their rhythm, stops their flow, and confuses them, and your team can take advantage of that. His ulti is amazing early game and solid late game. His ulti late game needs to wait for Caught to be off to get full effectiveness, but you can still do decent healing through Caught 3 because the HPS for the ult is insane. Grover is fairly easy to use, though you need to focus on positioning more than anything else with him. As soon as you learn how to position with Grover, everything else will fall into place. Grover is a great pick to carry your games and brings some of the best utility of all supports. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, be sure to leave a like and a comment, especially because this video took a lot of time and effort to do, and I want to do more of them, but I want to know if you guys want to see more of them before I do more of them. I have a lot planned out for the next coming weeks, so if you want to see more of these videos, be sure to let me know down below with all the kind-hearted comments and the amazing likes. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I also hope you enjoy your day, night, evening, morning, dawn, dusk, or whatever it is where you live. And I will see you in the next one. Later.